Alright, so this is the experimental video for the standardization of your sodium hydroxide. So what I'm going to be doing is preparing the dilute sodium hydroxide first, which you'll be working from this stock solution. So this is about 1 molar, and we're going to do a dilution, a 1 to 10 dilution doing that. So what I'm going to start with to do this, you're going to need the solution itself, the transfer beaker, which I will be pipetting my solution from using my volumetric pipette coupled with a bulb for that. So, I'll also be using my squirt bottle, an eyedropper, and I'm going to have a beaker for both my rinses. And my distilled or millicule water. Okay, so this is actually some millicule water here. The first thing that I'm going to want to do is rinse my pipette here, and I'm also going to prepare our burette, which we'll be using for the titration. So we've done this in the video as well, but I'm going to do it while multitasking to make this happen. So both the burette and your pipette should be rinsed with DI water. So I'm just going to draw water up into there just to make sure that I'm getting rid of anything that was left in my bulb. And as I'm doing this, I'm also doing my burette as well. So I did about 2 10 milliliter rinsings of water for my burette, and my volumetric, I will do 2 with water as well. I'm going to speed this up.
Hi, John.
Hello, I'm filming. You're good. Dr. Walker cameo, gotta love it. Now it's important that we rinse the volumetric pipette with the sodium hydroxide, the stock that I'm going to be using for my dilution. So obviously when I draw my sodium hydroxide up, which I've poured into the transfer beaker here, I'm going to want to rinse my pipette with that to take up any of that extra water that I have in there. That's going to cause my solution, my NaOH, to seem more dilute than it actually is. So we're pre-rinsing with the sodium hydroxide just to make sure to coat the entire pipette with that. And that's really important because when we're creating a solution to standardize, starting with the original one and keeping that one as original as it was is really important because then our dilution will be really spot on. So I'm going to do 1 rinse up for this, and then I'll get that all rinsed through it. So what I'm going to do is now transfer 25 milliliters using my 25 milliliter volumetric pipette into my 250 milliliter volumetric flask. This will allow me to make a dilution where I'm 10 times more dilute than the original. Okay. Quick rinse. You're going to want to make sure that your volumetric flask is rinsed with deionized water. It doesn't matter about excess water in the flask because we're going to be diluting up to the line. Okay, so now I'm going to transfer my solution here using the volumetric. So, that there is something that I wanted to happen and show you. Always want to make sure that you have enough of your solution in the beaker to draw up. Obviously, I can't get a full amount there, so I am going to dispense that and add a little bit more of my original solution. I'll then be able to drop the full 25 mils and then transfer to my flask. Make sure to read out the meniscus, because it is crucial that this measurement is spot on, because it is ensuring that you are delivering exactly 25 mils to the 250 milliliter flask that you'll then dilute to volume with water. Never add the solution that you've taken from your stock bottle back to it. This can get put to the excess base rinses that we'll have up at the front of the room. Allow the solution to fall out. Tap the tip of the pipette to the side of your volumetric. And now we're going to top with our water. So you'll see as I'm putting in the water, water is mixing with my base and diluting my sodium hydroxide. Fill to the neck with a beaker. Fill to just to the bottom of the line with the squirt bottle, and it's absolutely imperative that when you finish, you want to use an eyedropper to top off your solution. Almost there. This way you don't have to start over, because you know you can get right to the line there. Put on the cap, invert, and this here will now be the solution that you're going to titrate with. So we'll be delivering our sodium hydroxide using the burette. we're going to be titrating a known amount of KHP using this solution. So I've already rinsed my burette with water. Now I'm going to rinse it with my dilute sodium hydroxide. Oops, spilt a little, it's okay. So again, I'm still preparing the burette. Get some air bubbles out. There we go. And I'm going to want to rinse this 2 or 3 times. Just making sure that I have a full burette of my dilute sodium hydroxide. While that's going, I'm going to add 75 milliliters of deionized water to my KHP. Okay, that's 75. Now this is the flask from my techniques video. So I got my KHP in there. And I have a known mass. So what we're going to do is we're going to get our KHP dissolved. Get that going. And again, this is the information that I have on my trial there.